In many a strain of grief and joy my youthful spirit sung to thee, but I am now no more a boy, and there's a gulf twixt thee and me. Time on my brow has set his seal. I start to find myself a man, and know that I no more shall feel as only boyhood's spirit can. Etonian. There is an imperceptible but powerfully connecting link in our early associations and schoolboy friendships, which is very difficult to describe, but exceedingly grateful to reflect on, particularly when the retrospective affords a view of early attachments ripened into perfection with maturity and cementing firmly with increasing years. Youth is the period of frankness and of zeal, when the young heart, buoyant with hope and cheering prospects, fills with joy and expands in all the brightness of fancy's variety. The ambition, lures, and conflicting interests of the world have as yet made no inroad upon the mind. The bosom is a stranger to misery, the tongue to deceit, the eye glows with all the luxuriance of pleasure, and the whole countenance presents an animated picture of health and intelligence illumined with delight. The playfulness or incaution of youth may demand correction or produce momentary pain, but the tears of infancy fall like the summer dew upon the verdant slope, which the first gleam of the returning sun kisses away, and leaves the face of nature tinged with a blush of exquisite brilliancy, but with no trace of the sparkling moisture which lately veiled its beauty. This is the glittering period of life, when the gay perspective of the future seems clothed in every attractive hue, and the objects of this world assume a grace divine. Then it is that happiness, born on the wings of innocence and light-hearted mirth, attends our every step, and seems to wait obedient to our will. What a painful reverse may not the retrospective view afford? How unlike is the finished picture to the inspiring sketch? The one breathing the soft air of nature, and sparkling in brilliant tints of variegated hues, serene, clear, and transparent, like the magic penciling of the heavenly clod, shedding ambrosial sweets around. The reverse indistinct and overpowered with gloomy shadows, a mixture of the terrific and the marvelous, like the stormy and convulsive scenes of the mighty genius of Salvator Rosa, with here and there a flash of wildest eccentricity that only serves to render more visible the murky deformity of the whole. Horatio had just finished his introductory rhapsody when the door opened, and my aunt's servant entered with tea and toast. The simmering of the water round the heated tube of the urn, tingling in the ears of Hartley, broke the thread of his narration. There was a pause of nearly a minute, while John was busy in arranging the equipage. "You should have waited till I had rung, John," said my aunt. "Please your ladyship," said John, "you directed me always to bring tea in at 6 precisely, without waiting for orders." My aunt looked puzzled. "You are right, John, I did, and addressing Horatio, the fault of the interruption must therefore rest with me." Horatio bowed. The compliment was too flattering to be misunderstood. "Draw the curtains, John," said my aunt, "and make up the fire. We can help ourselves to what we want, you need not wait, and do not interrupt us again until you are rung for." "This is very mysterious," thought John, as he closed to the drawing-room door, and he related what he thought to my lady's maid when he returned to the servants' hall. "You are no conjurer, John," said Mrs. Margaret, with an oblique inclination of the head, half amorous and half conceited. "The old lady's will has been signed and sealed these 3 years. I was present when it was made, and I signed it too, and what's more, I knows all its contents. There are some people in the world, viewing herself in an opposite looking-glass, who may be very differently circumstanced some day or other." John's heart had long felt a sort of fluttering inclination to unburthen itself, by linking destinies with the merry Mrs. Margaret. The prospect of a handsome legacy, or perhaps an annuity, gave an additional spur to John's affectionate feelings, and that night he resolved to put the question. All this Mrs. Margaret had anticipated, and as she was now on the verge of 40, she very prudently thought there was no time to lose. "They are a pair of oddities," continued the waiting-maid. "I have sometimes surprised them both crying, as if their hearts would break, over a new book. I suppose they have got something very interesting, as my lady calls it, and Mr. Horatio is sermonizing as usual." Mrs. Margaret was not far wrong in her conjecture, for when my aunt and Horatio were again alone, she rallied him on the serious complexion of his style. Character of Bernard Blackmantle, By Horatio Hertly.